Thank you. Next speaker, please. Thank you very much, Penny. Lisa. Once more, Lisa. 5 minutes, please. We'll ding the bell at 5.
Hello, I know I need no introduction. My name's Lisa Prager and I'm here representing the Westmere Heritage Protection Association. But I also believe in democracy and have invited Sally Hughes of the Character Coalition to use a majority of my time to put their case. I simply want to say that it is an ordinary individual who loves and cares about this city. The entire unitary plan as presented by Penny Pirrett is just a load of hogwash designed by lawyers and accountants to baffle and bamboozle the public. It is over the top, it is inexplicable, and it is a shambles. This is the most important decision of the 21st century, and the public is as alienated. And the reason they're alienated, you can see them here now, and I think I remember saying to you, they will be here in droves. Well, here they are. Over to you, Sally.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm Sally Hughes. I'm the convener of the Character Coalition, and as I'm sure you're all aware, it is an umbrella group of 67 groups from across Auckland, not just heritage and historical societies, but residents' associations, special interest groups, community concerned groups. We range from Franklin to Silverdale. We cover the whole of Auckland. There are many, many members of our groups. I can confirm the deep level of concern that's been expressed about the out-of-scope zonings. It's left people feeling that they have no voice and that they've been shut out of the process. It does raise issues of natural justice, as has already been raised, and that's about fairness. It's about fairness to all property owners and to people who've taken part with very good faith in this process. These zoning issues have nothing to do with topics such as the pre-1944, as has been suggested. Withdrawing the zoning evidence does not mean that that heritage evidence would need to be withdrawn. Those hearings are finished, and so that evidence cannot be withdrawn. The Coalition believes that the Council has taken a very principled approach in reducing impediments to intensification. While the Character Coalition doesn't necessarily agree with the large scope of the reduction of the pre-1944, 86% is a very large reduction, we do very much respect the process that's been followed in that. The Council has produced its evidence to support what they've done, how they've arrived at that overlay, and the Heritage team has shown a great willingness to engage on issues of heritage and character. This is in stark contrast with the new zonings which have been done without consultation and, if accepted, will be forced upon communities. Coalition members have been involved in the hearing process in good faith and are dismayed at this turn of events. My members have spent thousands of dollars of community-raised funds and hundreds of hours responding to and in many cases supporting the Council's evidence. I urge you to keep faith with the community on this and vote to withdraw the out-of-scope evidence.
I want to alliterate and support what Sally has said, and unfortunately I am absolutely dismayed on behalf of my association at the withdrawal of the pre-1944 protection. It really is a disgusting betrayal, having gone through the process of community engagement and bringing that to fruition and engaging the community, and people believing that they could rest because this city would remain intact in its historic areas, was wiped aside. That is why we have, in my association, absolutely no faith in the entire unitary plan process as we go forward, and there will need to be a radical change and an observance that you are not governed by a deadline, you are governed by good sense and good management of a city that needs to be managed with kid gloves.
Right, Are there any questions? Councillor Sharon.
Thank you, Sally. That was really very interesting. Sally, were you aware that the Independent Hearings Panel, they did release an interim guidance of special character for pre-1944 controls, and one of the recommendations they made was actually for Howick, that Howick should remain a special character area for the purposes of the PAUP process, only to have Councillor Quacks and I are not on the Unitary Plan Committee, but we did attend that meeting, only to have the Unitary Plan Committee and a Maori Statutory Board member using a casting vote to turn that into an outer scope. Were you aware of that?
Yes, I was aware of that, and I heard the very good evidence that Howick then put before the Independent Hearings Panel to have that retained. I think that's definitely a reason that the community are so dismayed about this process, because it seems to have come along at the end and gone back over things that had already been decided and that the panel had already given guidance on, and that's one of the reasons everybody's so
that was quite a big
about
surprise, wasn't
Yep.
it?
Yes, that's
Thank
right.
you.
Councillor Penny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wonder if either of our presenters are aware that Council has worked exceedingly hard to retain the 1940. Mr. Mayor,
Yep. Look, don't worry.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yes, no.
Just-
I'd like to answer that.
Oh, no,
Yes,
no, just-
I would like you to
just-
worry,
just
Penny,
wait a
because
minute, please.
at the bottom line
Just
here...
wait a minute.
Mr. Mayor,
Just
can we have
respect
order?
the fact that this meeting, and I've said it before, the members of the community, you're here to support, that's fine. But the rules are just be quiet and listen to what's been said. Right? That's what we ask you for. It's the rules of this House. Yep. Otherwise, in the end, we're wasting our time here. Yep. Because we'll just have a constant banter in the background.
Just go.
Right? Now, we just ask you to listen in peace and let us have this discussion in peace. Right. Now, Lisa, do you want to answer that?
I'd like Penny to finish the question. Let's have the whole question, Penny.
I'd quite like to finish it. I think we're being asked to listen. It would be great if everyone listened. So the 1944 overlay, the point about this is that Council has worked exceedingly hard to retain the overlay. On direction of the panel, we have had to change some of the overlay, but our evidence has very strongly supported the 1944 overlay. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am, and I referenced that in what I said, Penny, that,
Thank you.
that the robust and very good process that the Heritage team went through to come up with the overlay. As I say, we don't necessarily support the extent of the reduction. We would have liked to have seen a bit more, but we do acknowledge that that was a very good process, which, as I said, that makes it so different this time with the zoning, that the 44 was such a good process and everybody had really great faith in that, and then the zoning came along after that, and so that's why people feel that they've been sort of a bit broadsided by that.
Well, and I want to say that we have been broadsided, and I do challenge the independence of the independent board. I have seen firsthand how they have behaved. I do not believe they give the same weight to community groups that they do to business. And when I see people like Fulton Hogan and the aggregate suppliers in one room this morning and the people from Glen Innes in another room, I myself go, this is a no-win situation. If you have an army of lawyers and accountants and unlimited pockets at your disposal, you will win over the most impartial of people. This process is flawed, because it is about developers getting the legislation they want to make money in this town at the expense of the public.
Very good. There were two questions. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Sally and Lisa. Right, we now ask Flora and Alex. A couple of young people.
Yay.
Yay.
Some young people.
Some young people.
Okay. Right, to you guys, deep breath. All right, grab some water. And so You have 5 minutes between you.
Well, so through you, the Mayor, I'm feeling the whole weight of our generation on my shoulders right now. For you, the Mayor, Your Worship, the Mayor and elected councillors, we're here to speak and address to you on behalf of over 500,000 young people who live in Auckland. You may hear that my voice is a bit shaky at the moment, but as I said at the start, if you look around the room at the moment, Alex and I are probably the only young people in this room.
Oh, it's not. You are. You are.
Shh. It's probably a statement of fact. Carry on.
Denise?
There is no keener revelation of a society soul than the way they treat their young people and their children. I say this meeting is about evidence provided. I say this because I've been a social worker in South Auckland and I see the evidence that young people are homeless, young people have nowhere to stay, young people have no support for their families to live in affordable housing. The quote by Nelson Mandela that I just read earlier supports the Auckland Plan's first priority, which is to support the needs of and put children and young people first. In saying this, as the chairperson and the deputy chairperson of the Youth Advisory Panel, we are here because we believe that our young people are not being heard, and we are here to talk on their behalf. We urge you to keep an open mind, and also we urge you to realize that we, as a generation, look to you as our leaders and look to you as the guardians of our future, and also we look to you as the guardians of the fabric of our society, which is our children and young people.
Thank you, Flora. Right. Alex.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, our support for the proposed unitary plan in general and for the changes that have caused so much controversy is based, as Flora outlined, on the urgent need to provide more housing choices so that young people can have equal opportunity to other generations, to be connected, and to have a chance to thrive in Auckland. And these goals are outlined in the I Am Auckland Strategic Action Plan adopted by this council in 2014. So, as Flora outlined some of the struggles that young people have to find housing currently, I'd like to draw attention to the ways in which these changes to the council's submission can address some of those challenges, as well as fulfil some of the goals of the I Am Auckland plan. So, on the area of giving equal opportunity to succeed, to have the same chances of doing well as other generations, we need to have the same access to employment hubs, to study areas, and to good transport. And the unitary plan is the tool to do this by allowing more housing choices to be built in areas that are convenient, desirable, and appropriate for this growth. Putting all of the growth out west and out south puts an unfair burden on those communities to manage the growth that we all must bear. And it's our view that a commitment to equal opportunity for young people to succeed means the ability to live in all areas that give those opportunities, whether they be south, north, east, west, or in central Auckland. On the goal of being connected, the changes are in areas that are well connected by public transport. Being able to go where opportunities are is crucial to young people flourishing in the city, and that is what these changes provide. And on the goal of having a voice, in the debate about the proposed unitary plan, the voices of young people, we feel, have largely been drowned out by those already on the property ladder and those who already have the benefits of living in central, desirable areas. Unitary plan is about what Auckland looks like in the future, and the voice of young people is imperative in that future. And the changes made to the council's submission after the period of consultation had closed were made to better meet the need to put more housing inside the urban boundary. Not only does this better meet the regional policy statement and the Auckland plan, but it would also reflect the large number of submissions in favour of intensification, especially from those young people who submitted in the process when the submissions were open. And if the council were to remove the changes that were made or revoke its submission entirely, then it would lose its own voice in the hearings process. Losing that voice would affect all Aucklanders, young and old, who submitted in the first stages of the process.